For years, fans of TLC's hit show 90 Day Fiancé believed they had seen it all. They had watched long-distance couples struggle with cultural clashes and impossible family drama. But nothing could prepare them for what was about to unfold in the real marriage of Jenny Slatten and Sumit Singh. Their relationship, once celebrated for its persistence, spiraled into scandal involving secret debts, religious pressure, betrayal, and heartbreak. What started as a love story ended with prison, divorce, and a shocking twist that no one saw coming. When Jenny Slatten, a woman from Palm Springs in her 60s, first met Sumit Singh, a young man in his early 30s from India, fans noticed the glaring differences. They came from different generations, different religions, and different worlds. His family disapproved and threatened to disown him. Jenny endured rejection, lies, and even the shocking discovery that Sumit had once been secretly married. After years of pain and persistence, Jenny finally married him, and to fans, it looked like love had conquered all. But behind closed doors, Sumit was hiding a secret that would destroy everything Jenny had fought for. It began innocently with late-night gambling on online poker games and sports betting apps. Jenny thought he was just relaxing, but Sumit was spiraling into addiction. Over 2 years, he lost staggering amounts of money, borrowing from lenders and loan sharks until he owed nearly $300,000. Jenny discovered the truth too late. The debt was already overwhelming. When collectors began calling, Sumit turned to the one person he thought could save him, his wife. He begged Jenny to help. "Jenny, I need you to help me. I can't handle this debt alone. If you really love me, you'll stand by me." At first, he told her it was only $20,000, but the truth was far darker. It was $300,000. In his desperation, Sumit began to pressure Jenny not only for money, but also to convert to Hinduism. He argued that as a Hindu wife, it was her duty to support her husband no matter what. "If you become Hindu," he told her, "you will understand a wife's role is to stand by her husband in hard times. It's the Dharma. It's the right thing to do." But Jenny resisted. "I came here for love, Sumit, not for religion, not for money. Why are you putting this on me?" She had already given up her home, her family, and her financial security to be with him. Now he was asking her to sacrifice her beliefs and shoulder his massive debt. Jenny finally drew a line. She would not pay his debts. She would not convert under pressure. That refusal set off a storm neither of them could escape. For months, Sumit lived a double life. On the outside, he was a charming husband. On the inside, a desperate gambler. But secrets do not stay hidden forever. Creditors filed lawsuits, and Jenny was stunned when she saw the papers. "Sumit, what is this? Tell me this isn't real." But it was real. Bank statements, app logs, digital transfers, all undeniable. Within weeks, Sumit was arrested for fraud and unpaid debts. A police officer told him, "Sumit Singh, you are under arrest for failure to repay debts and violation of financial agreements. You have the right to remain silent." The trial was swift. Sumit's defense collapsed under the evidence. The judge declared his reckless gambling a violation of financial law. The verdict was 5 months in prison. For Jenny, everything she had built in India collapsed. The man she had left her family and her country for was now in prison, not for love, but for lies. Jenny had endured more than most. She had faced his family's rejection, his secret marriage, and constant disapproval, but she had always chosen love. Now she sat alone in her small apartment while her husband served a sentence for debts she hadn't created. "I gave up everything for him," she said to herself. "My family, my friends, my future. And this is what I get: debt, shame, and loneliness." The calls from creditors never stopped. Even with Sumit in prison, Jenny was harassed daily with threats and reminders of unpaid balances. She wasn't legally responsible for his money, but as his wife, she was still a target. The pressure broke her down. Nights of sleepless tears turned into days filled with anxiety. Through it all, she remembered Sumit's words, "If you love me, you'll help me. If you're my wife, you'll convert. You'll pay." What once felt like love now felt like manipulation. Her friends told her the truth. "Jenny, you can't keep living like this. He used you. He lied to you. And now you're paying for his mistakes. Jenny whispered back, but I loved him. I thought he loved me. Her friend shook her head. Love doesn't mean destroying yourself for someone who doesn't care about you. It was the hardest decision of Jenny's life, but she knew she had to do it. For her own survival, for her own sanity, she needed to break free. She filed for divorce. The woman who once stood proudly beside Sumit Singh now walked away from him forever. Their love story, once praised as proof that age and culture could not stop true love, ended in betrayal, debt, and heartbreak. When the divorce papers were signed, Jenny felt both heartbreak and relief. After years of sacrificing everything for Sumit, she was finally free. Free from the lies, the pressure, and the crushing weight of his debts. But her freedom came at a cost. Alone in a foreign country, she faced the quiet reality of starting over at 66. She thought her marriage would last forever. Instead, she found herself packing boxes and questioning every choice that had brought her to this point. Yet Jenny was not defeated. She realized she had gained something important: resilience. She had survived lies, betrayal, and humiliation, and now she would survive this too. She told herself, this isn't the end of my story. It's just the beginning of a new one. Jenny Slatten's chapter with Sumit Singh had ended in scandal and heartbreak. He was sentenced to prison. Their marriage ended in divorce, and she was left to rebuild her life from the ashes. But life had more in store for her. Later, Jenny found love again with a man named Michael, who offered her peace and respect. It was not the fairy tale ending fans had imagined when they first watched her on television. It was something different, something quieter, more real. After all the pain she endured, Jenny learned that love is not about sacrifice or manipulation. It is about dignity, trust, and a partner who values you for who you are. Jenny's love story with Sumit ended in tragedy, but her life did not end there. From the shadows of betrayal, she found the strength to rise again. She discovered that even after heartbreak, new beginnings are possible. And that, perhaps, is the greatest truth of all. You can't keep living like this. He used you. He lied to you. And now you're paying for his mistakes. Jenny lowered her head and whispered, but I loved him. I thought he loved me. Her friend sighed and told her that love doesn't mean destroying yourself for someone who doesn't care about you. It was the hardest decision of her life, but Jenny knew what she had to do. For her own survival, for her own sanity, she needed to cut ties. She needed freedom. Jenny Slatten had reached her breaking point, and she filed for divorce. The woman who once stood proudly beside Sumit Singh was now walking away from him forever. Their love story, once praised as proof that age and culture could not stop true love, had ended in betrayal, debt, and heartbreak. When the divorce papers were signed, Jenny felt heartbreak and relief at the same time. After years of fighting for Sumit, she was finally free. Free from the lies, the pressure, and the crushing weight of his debts. But freedom came at a cost. Jenny was once again alone in a foreign country. Her trust was shattered, her heart scarred. She thought to herself, I believed our marriage was forever, but all I got was betrayal. Now I have to start over. The news of their divorce spread quickly. Fans of 90 Day Fiancé, once deeply invested in their supposed fairy tale, were stunned. Social media lit up with comments, some supportive, others critical, but Jenny stayed silent. She had no strength left to defend herself. Back in her small apartment, she faced the quiet reality of rebuilding her life. At 66 years old, she had once imagined growing old with her husband in India. Instead, she found herself packing boxes, reliving painful memories, and questioning every choice that had brought her here. But Jenny was not defeated. For everything she had lost, she realized she had gained something too: resilience. She had survived betrayal, humiliation, and heartbreak, and she would survive this as well. She reminded herself, this isn't the end of my story. It's the beginning of a new one. Jenny's chapter with Sumit Singh had closed, but life had more in store for her. A twist of fate would lead her to someone unexpected, a man who would show her that love, even after devastation, was still possible. After her divorce, Jenny thought her heart had no room left for love. She spent her days quietly keeping to herself, focused only on healing. But life has a way of surprising us when we least expect it. For Jenny, that surprise came in the form of a man named Michael. One day he looked at her and asked, "Excuse me, is this seat taken?" Jenny smiled and said, "Oh no, please go ahead." That simple moment began a connection Jenny thought she would never feel again. Michael was different. He was gentle, soft-spoken, and carried himself with calm confidence. Unlike Sumit, he asked nothing of Jenny but her company. Their first meeting was casual, just a shared table and conversation, but it lit a spark she thought had been extinguished forever. "You seem like someone with a story," Michael told her. "Maybe one day you'll tell me." Jenny replied, "Maybe when I'm ready." Days turned into weeks. Coffee meetings became walks, and walks became dinners. For the first time in years, Jenny felt laughter return to her life. Real laughter, not the forced smiles she once carried beside Sumit. Michael never pushed her to change. He never demanded faith, money, or sacrifice. All he gave her was companionship, patience, and respect. For Jenny, that was everything she had longed for. Slowly, she began to believe again. Not in fairy tales or perfect love stories, but in second chances. With Michael by her side, she saw that her life wasn't ending with heartbreak. It was beginning again. Jenny had walked through betrayal, humiliation, and the collapse of a marriage the world thought would last forever. Yet out of the ashes, she found peace. Michael was steady, kind, and patient. As months passed, Jenny realized she felt something she thought she had lost forever: trust. One evening, Michael looked at her and said, "Jenny, I know your heart has been through so much. I don't want to rush you, but I also don't want to spend another day without telling you how I feel. I don't promise perfection. I don't promise that life will always be easy. But I promise to respect you, to stand by you, and to love you exactly as you are. Jenny, will you marry me?" The world went still. After everything she had endured, the lies, the manipulation, the humiliation, here was a man offering her nothing but honesty and love. Tears filled her eyes as she whispered, "Yes. Yes, Michael, I will." It wasn't a flashy proposal. There were no cameras, no spectacle, no global audience. But that was exactly what Jenny wanted. Something real, something quiet, something hers. For the first time in years, she felt like she wasn't living someone else's dream. She was living her own. With Michael, Jenny found what she had been searching for all along. Not just love, but safety, dignity, and a partner who saw her worth without condition. On a quiet morning under a sky brushed with gold and blue, Jenny prepared for a day she thought she would never see again. A second wedding, not born of desperation, but of choice. This time it wasn't about proving love to the world or overcoming impossible odds. It was about peace, healing, and starting over with someone who truly valued her. She looked in the mirror and whispered, "I never thought I'd wear this again. Not after everything. But here I am, stronger, ready." The wedding was small, intimate, and deeply personal. No TV cameras, no production crew, no spectacle. Just a handful of loved ones gathered to witness two souls finding each other after heartbreak. Michael looked at her and said, "You look beautiful, Jenny." She smiled. "Thank you for seeing me, Michael. For choosing me." When they exchanged vows, Jenny's voice trembled but carried the weight of truth years of pain had carved into her. She said, "I once believed love was about sacrifice, about proving myself over and over. But you've shown me that love is about respect, kindness, and patience. Today I choose you not because I have to, but because I want to." When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, Jenny felt an overwhelming sense of peace. For the first time in so long, she wasn't afraid of the future. She wasn't holding her breath waiting for betrayal. She was simply home. Her second wedding wasn't about age, scandal, or fame. It was about healing. It was about reclaiming her story. With Michael by her side, Jenny knew her next chapter would be one of dignity, hope, and true love. In the evenings after her wedding, Jenny often sat by the window sipping tea, reflecting on the long road that brought her here. The laughter, the tears, the heartbreak, the betrayal, it all felt like fragments of another life. But those fragments shaped her into who she was now. Stronger, wiser, and unafraid. She thought, I used to believe my life was over after Sumit, that I was too old, too broken, too lost. But I was wrong. Love doesn't end when someone betrays you. Life doesn't stop with heartbreak. It begins again when you choose yourself. For Jenny, Sumit Singh was no longer the center of her story. He was a closed chapter, a painful memory that taught her lessons about trust, boundaries, and self-worth. His prison sentence and their bitter divorce were scars she would carry, but scars do not define a survivor. They prove survival. With Michael, Jenny discovered a new kind of love, one that didn't demand sacrifice, didn't weigh her down with guilt, but lifted her with patience and care. Together, they built a life defined not by cameras or judgment, but by quiet mornings, shared meals, and simple joy. Jenny's journey was never truly about reality TV. It was about resilience. It was about proving that no matter your age, your past, or your scars, you deserve happiness. Her story with Sumit ended in tragedy, but her story with Michael began with hope, healing, and peace. Sometimes life gives second chances in the most unexpected ways. Jenny found hers not in the man she once fought the world for, but in the man who simply chose her exactly as she was. That, she realized, was the truest love of all. Her divorce was not the end. It was the doorway to a new beginning. Jenny Slatin reminds us all of one simple truth. It is never too late to start over. No matter the heartbreak, no matter the betrayal, life always gives us the chance to begin again. And for Jenny, that second chance came in the form of love, respect, and peace by Michael's side. Their story is not about fame, not about scandal. It's about healing. It's about the power of second chances. What are you thinking about this gossip today? Let us know in the comments. More update. Jenny Slatin from 90 Day Fiancé has recently reached a breaking point after moving in with Sumit Singh's family. She now longs to reclaim her independence and live on her own terms again. To address their financial struggles, Jenny and Sumit even tried opening a small cafe, but things didn't start well. Their very first customer walked out. On top of that, tensions at home only grew when Sumit's mother discovered Jenny's hidden stash of rum and harshly criticized her for drinking. Yet, despite the clashes, Jenny surprised everyone by honoring her mother-in-law with a heartfelt Mother's Day tribute, showing that even in the middle of conflict, she still tries to hold the family together. I will explain everything. After sharing a home with Sumit Singh's family, 90 Day Finance actress Jenny Slatin is now standing firm. She is eager to regain her freedom, and the present situation is exactly what she gave up in California for. The truth is that Slatin isn't prepared to change or to deal with her husband's family. Yet there's more. Jenny just opened up about her current emotions and the dynamics at play. The audience is still reeling from her jaw-dropping revelations. Are you in agreement? Leave a comment and tell us. This topic is pretty intense, so you should keep reading to find out more. Despite appearing on 90 Days, Jenny Slatin was not emotionally or psychologically ready to spend the rest of her life with Sumit Singh's family. We truly don't blame her, though. For 7 years, she enjoyed complete solitude with her husband, so she felt totally cut off from living her life according to her own terms when she moved in with Sumit's family. There was no privacy. Jenny said people began to gather around her the moment she emerged from her chamber. As a result, she and Sumit began to spend more time alone in her room. However, Jenny is not yet prepared to embrace this transformation in the long run. She has made it clear that she doesn't see this as a long-term commitment. Even though Jenny Slatin has lived with Sumit and his family for some time now, the star of 90 Day Fiancé still feels like she hasn't acclimated to the dynamics. She came clean about her appreciation for the affection she was getting. That said, that doesn't imply she was prepared to keep going in that vein forever. Living with her in-laws was hard for the celebrity, who just revealed this fact. In an interview with People, Jenny recalled a time when they had no one to boss around them, so they could follow their wildest dreams. Trying to adapt wasn't easy for her. She said because it was strange to have people telling her what to do. Sumit went on to say that he has always been an independent guy because of his upbringing. Sumit made the observation, "However, I'm finding it challenging too. Acclimate to my new environment since returning with my family." He admitted to the source that he was completely without a timeline for his departure. His parents apparently want the pair to stay with them indefinitely, as they also regained custody of their son after nearly 7 years. The new normal is tough for everyone, but Sumit is no exception. Alternatively, Jenny is ready to escape and reclaim her independence. She longs for the independence and solitude of her own existence, but it won't happen until she and Sumit resolve their money problems. Are you in agreement? Leave a comment and tell us. Sumit and Jenny opened a cafe to fix money was, but their first customer ran away. Guests on 90 Days of Love after coming to terms with the need to establish a reliable source of income. Jenny and Sumit have decided to launch a cafe to help alleviate their financial difficulties. They chose to pursue an area where Sumit had extensive experience. It appears nevertheless that they are still losing ground since they are unable to meet the needs of their clients. Viewers were taken aback when they saw how Sumit and Jenny's first customer hurriedly left before he could even receive their order. I don't understand though what caused the client to depart. Tell me, what's going on here? This topic is pretty intense, so you should keep reading to find out more. Since Jenny and Sumit couldn't afford their apartment, they were honest with their 90-day finance viewers about their financial situation. Jenny had finally found a place to call home with her in-laws after the couple was forced to move in with the father's family. It would appear that she was compelled to conform to her mother-in-law's capriciousness. Following 7 years of independence, Jenny is highly unsatisfied with all of this. She was very forthright in telling everyone that she had lost her independence and that the agony was becoming worse by the day. The famous person assured her spouse that this was just a temporary arrangement and she wished to resume her life quickly. When Suit was laid off from his work, Jenny's world was flipped upside down. The latter talked about his past as a chef and how he cooked to make ends meet on 90-day finance, but then his employment ended and everything started to go wrong from there. The pair appears to have settled on the idea of opening a cafe, capitalizing on Sumit's background in the industry. Sumit revealed to the cameras in the most recent teaser that he and Jenny had decided to start a cafe with their family. It showed that this cafe was more of a team because they cheered together. While the customer waited, Jenny did her best to brew coffee, demonstrating her willingness to work as well. She explained to the second person that she was inexperienced and had trouble using the coffee maker. After what seemed like an eternity, the customer finally left without having his order taken. Jenny was told by Sumit that she would be the one to improve things. Jenny was not pleased and responded quickly with a clap of her own. It was obvious that she was giving it her all. That these two are having such a hard time running their business is obvious. Plus, Jenny would have communicated with her in-laws in addition to Sumit. And it appears that they aren't the only ones managing the cafe. Therefore, it would be fascinating to see how she handles the new dynamics. Are you in agreement? Leave a comment and tell us. Sumit's mom discovers Jenny's hidden rum and slams her for drinking. Her own mother-in-law was the one who caught